When you look at any really successful team, what do you see? You see a mix, right? A mix of different skills, different ways of thinking, different backgrounds. But how do you actually manage that mix to get the absolute best results? Well, that's what diversity management is all about. It's the art of turning our differences into a massive strategic advantage. Let's dig into how that actually works. So, let's start with the big question. Why is this topic everywhere right now? I mean, it feels like every company, from the smallest startup to the biggest corporation, is talking about diversity. What's really behind this big global push? It's a really important question because, figuring out the why is the first step to actually getting this stuff right.
At the end of the day, this whole conversation boils down to one simple, incredibly powerful truth that sometimes gets overlooked. We are not all the same. And honestly, that's a great thing. Because recognizing, appreciating, and actually using those differences is how you get the best outcomes.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around diversity, we've got to look a little deeper than just the obvious stuff. A really helpful way to frame this is to think about our differences as existing on two totally distinct levels. This little framework makes it much clearer what we're actually trying to manage. Think about it like an iceberg. What you see right on top, the visible part, that's surface-level diversity. This is the stuff you notice immediately: age, gender, race. And the danger here is that this is where stereotypes can easily creep in. But the huge, massive part of the iceberg underneath the water, that's deep-level diversity. That's all the stuff you can't see right away: someone's values, their personality, their beliefs. And here's the key. The longer people work together, the more this deep-level stuff matters for how a team really clicks and performs. And that brings us to the core problem we're trying to solve here: unfair discrimination. This is what happens when we stop seeing the person in front of us and instead we let our actions be guided by some preconceived idea, a stereotype about a group they belong to. It's the exact opposite of good diversity management, and it's just incredibly damaging, not just for the employee, but for the entire organization. So you see, every single organization comes to this fork in the road. They have to make a choice. Is diversity just a risk you have to manage? A legal box you have to check off, basically a liability? Or do you see it as a source of real strength, a driver of innovation, and a major competitive advantage, a strategic asset? You can actually map out the journey most organizations take. A lot of them start at stage 1, non-compliant, where diversity is basically seen as a problem or even a threat. Then maybe they move to stage 2, compliant, where they're just doing the bare minimum to follow the law. A reactive organization, that's stage 3, starts to clue in that there are benefits, but they don't really have a plan. But the goal, the place you want to be, is stage 4, proactive. That's where diversity is truly woven into the company's DNA as a strategy to drive amazing results.
Okay, so that's the goal, right? To be proactive. But how? How do you actually do that? What does it look like on the ground, in the real world? Let's take a look at the concrete strategies that can actually make it happen.
Really effective diversity management isn't just one thing. It's a whole system. It all starts with attracting diverse talent. You have to go out and find people. Then it's about selection, making sure your hiring process is genuinely fair and objective. But it doesn't stop there. Once people are on the team, you need fair career development that promotes talent from all backgrounds. And finally, maybe the most important part, retaining those amazing people by creating a culture where everyone feels included and supported. And this is exactly where data becomes your best friend. Take this chart, for example. Now, I know this global data is from 2015, so it's a little old, but it illustrates the point perfectly. By looking at real data on who makes up your workforce, you can spot the gaps. A proactive company would look at something like this, see a disparity in female employment, and then ask the hard questions. Are our recruiting ads attracting women? Is our selection process accidentally biased? Are we giving women the same career development opportunities? See? Data is what transforms good intentions into a smart, focused strategy that actually works. So after all this effort, understanding the different levels of diversity, building out a real strategy, and putting it into action, what's the bottom line? What's the real payoff when you get this right? Honestly, the benefits are huge. We're talking about more innovation because different perspectives just naturally lead to fresh, new ideas. You see a real boost in morale and better teamwork because people feel valued for who they really are. And when you get that right, you create this incredible harmony where everyone can bring their best self to work. So the big takeaway here is that this isn't just about being fair. It's about being smart. It's about high performance.
And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. Take an honest look at your own workplace, your own organization. Is the approach to diversity all about just avoiding trouble, just checking the boxes, or is it actively, intentionally building a strategic asset by turning the simple fact that we're all different into its greatest possible strength? It's definitely something to think about.